You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, episode 81. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where growth and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha in our everyday lives. I am your host, Omileti Olubunmi. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I am Omileti Olubunmi. Thank you for spending some of your time with me to talk about all things Orisha, spirituality, and growth. So, turn up the volume in your car. Let's get ready for a nice workout. Weather, I'm hoping, is starting to get better in some places more than others. Time for a walk. Let's grab a cup of tea. I have water next to me. Something good and healthy to drink, and let's chat. This is an Ask a Priest episode. What is that? First of all, for those of you who are new to the podcast, welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. We're so happy to have you. The Ask a Priest series is a podcast series that we have where you, the community, gets to ask questions that you've always wanted to ask an Orisha priest. And now you have the chance. I'll put on the show notes how you can ask your burning question for a chance to get your question answered here on the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. If you absolutely must have the link right this second, it's orishawisdom.com/AskAPriest. No dashes in between. And ask it. There are many questions. I mean, this is an opportunity that came from pretty much everybody. There's always something that you've always wanted to know and you wanted to ask, and sometimes you don't feel that safe to ask it in public forums. You don't know them very well. You're not sure just what kind of response you're going to get or who's answering you. And this is a great, great space. And I'm going to tell you what one of my mottos are, even at work. If I don't have the answer, I'll find you somebody who does. And that's usually helpful because then that means that I'm also learning. So again, unless you're driving, do not stop to do this while you're driving. It's orishawisdom.com/AskAPriest. And there are no dashes in between. With that, let's get this episode going. This person wrote in, I am hoping I'm not butchering the name, but I think it's Dodji. So if it is, great. And if it's not, please accept my apologies. But I really like your question. Here is the question. How to rebuild my self-belief and self-worth and realign myself to my true purpose in this universe. A bit of context. I feel disconnected from the real me to who I am supposed to be. I feel a bit like a headless chicken running around aimlessly. First of all, thank you so much for, trusting our community with your question. And we are going to dive into it. But before you do, let's listen to the sponsor of this particular episode. This episode is being brought to you by our Orisha Traditions Journey Type Quiz. Take this short quiz and find out. This is for anyone who is interested and is already in the Orisha traditions. Find out what is your style and how you can work with your style as you are immersing yourself into these traditions. It's good to know where you are so that you know your challenges and strengths to help you get there faster and with less bumps and scrapes on your journey. Find out if you are a confident hunter or a chary traveler. Go to orishawisdom.com/Omileti and click on the button that says quiz right in the middle. Take the quiz. It takes a few minutes and watch the video afterwards, which will tell you where you are at and some of your strengths and areas to improve so that you have a smoother road in the Orisha traditions. It's very exciting. Take it, be honest, and enjoy your journey with our Orisha Traditions Journey Type Quiz. Well, there you have it. I hope you check out that quiz because it's pretty cool and it's quite accurate from what I'm hearing. All right, back to the question at hand. I will reread it because it is a lot of different questions. Actually, it's one question, but it has little bits along with it. So I'm going to start. How to rebuild my self-belief and self-worth and realign myself to my true purpose in this universe? This was the question. A bit of context. I feel disconnected from the real me to who I am supposed to be. I feel a bit like a headless chicken running around aimlessly. Dodji, thank you so much for writing this. Again, I chose this question because I know what this means. And I don't think you are alone by a long shot. I think that many people would be like, yup, that's me. That's how I feel. Okay, so I'm going to start the conversation. I think that this episode, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours and still not even begin to scratch the surface. I took a few notes to get you started because we all have that question. And interestingly enough, if you're not asking this question, you're nowhere near to getting your answer. So I'm really happy to see when somebody's like, well, I don't really know what my purpose is. For one, because then you're open to it. So kudos to you for that. So with that, let's head into some of the notes that I have. When you go to spiritual readings, because we're going to come here from a context of spirituality in our traditions as well as real life, okay? Spiritual readings give you a piece of a puzzle. The puzzle is your life. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle with hundreds of thousands of pieces. Each reading, when is done effectively, some more than others, will add another piece or several pieces to your jigsaw puzzle. There will never be one way that you're going to be hit automatically with, I know what my purpose is, and then I need some psychedelic music here. It doesn't really quite work that way. I've heard of some people describing it that way, but when I like listening to interviews and I love reading about people when they discover what their purpose is, and it's not like that. Sometimes they may appear that way, but it's a process that they had to go through until they had that big, I know what it is that I'm going to be doing. But spiritual readings really do provide a help. What I find in the beginning, if you're running around like a headless chicken, a chicken without a head, and you're running around trying to figure it out, a reading can help to stabilize that because it's going to tackle the issues that are pressing right this moment. So it may not automatically deal with what is my purpose in this universe. It may not deal with that, but it may deal with the stresses that are stressing you out to the point that you can't even think straight to figure out what you want to do with what you have. Okay? I want to let you know that advice will always be given. You're going to do your abos, your spiritual work, but then your mind and your actions is going to begin to change the dynamics of all the stuff that is going on. And we can get into this philosophically, energetically, all kinds of stuff, but you come in and you are stressed out and you don't know which direction you have, right? So you're aimless. And it may focus on, okay, we need to get you a better job. And you're like, that's not what I'm here for. But maybe Orisha or Ifa, or both, right? Maybe like, well, this is where this person needs to start. And when they are in a better spot financially, Then we're going to work on, health, because now they can afford, better food and, a gym membership or whatever. Okay, then we're going to deal with that. Then we're going to deal with a relationship. This person that this child that's coming in for this reading, this person's no good. We're going to have to deal with that. And it's going to be piece by piece until you're able to work through what you need to in order to figure that out. We're going to dive into it a little bit. Okay. When you start tackling these things, so remember for this example, we did job and then we did health, right? And then we did relationship. You are going to start seeing things differently. And when you start seeing things differently, then you begin to react differently to them. Then your actions are a lot different than when you saw it in another way. So now maybe you think you're still aimless, but you're like, I'm going to do 3 acts of kindness a day. I don't know what I'm doing on this earth, but I'm going to do that. And next thing you know, it's like people think it's serendipity, and it's not. You're really doing actions towards a particular goal. So if your goal is to find out what your purpose, which is a great spot to be in because now you are starting to become really open for that, then you will be starting to put yourself in situations or receive advice in order to begin to act differently, to expand your mind. That was the word I was looking for. I should have written it down. Expand your mind. And now, everything that you worked with in one way will now have a different meaning based on the experiences and the actions. The experiences, so we're just going to do this procedure. Let's say readings and bows, and then now you're going to apply the advice that is given during your readings plus that action. It is going to begin to make those changes, so now you're going to have a different point of view. Your road will begin to become more visible in the middle of the fog. And I literally wrote that down. I can absolutely relate to this. And I have a saying. It's not the nicest saying. It does involve bad words, so I'm going to clean it up. But I always say that when you are in the middle of a poop hole, you can't see past the smell. And I've said that, and it's funny because it's true. Because when you're in the middle of the thick of it, you don't see beyond it. But if you're in the middle of a fog, it ends at some point. But you don't know if the end is going to be 20 inches in front of you or a mile in front of you. Like, you can't really tell, especially when it's really thick fog. And when you are running around aimlessly, I find that it's almost like life's fog. Foggy memory. It is unclear. You're not sure where you're going. And when you start changing your situation so that it becomes more visible. You're able to see, I guess, you're going to install your life's fog lights. Gosh. Oh, by the way, very funny story. It took me forever to figure out how to turn on my fog lights in my last car. I literally had to ask for help. I felt so dumb, but I needed to know how to turn those suckers on, and I did, and I was so happy. Anyway, end of funny story, just because it made me think of fog lights. Now, how you're going to start with the Ori is dealing with the self-belief and self-worth. And I wrote Ori in like big, big letters. Again, if you start going to spiritual readings and this is your issue, I am very sure that at some point in the beginning, you are going to be told, hey, you're going to have to probably do a rogation. Some houses don't really work with Ori and put a lot of emphasis. Ori, by the way, if you don't know what that is, it's your highest self. In our traditions, we consider that as your personal Orisha. You really do have a piece of the divine with you, and it is yours. And it is on top of your head. There's more definitions to it, but just to keep it nice and simple, this is your own personal Orisha. And when you go in to do readings, they're going to probably advise you to do head rogations. I'm not going to go into what it is, but it basically will help to clear your head and to begin to align. I will tell you, if you do get this from someone who has ashe on their hands, I promise you're going to sleep like a babe that night, because it's almost like your brain gets a reboot. And sometimes that is what you need. Now, is that going to be a fixer for like a fix-all? No. But it's like a good jump start to your higher self. Like, all right, we were aimless for a hot minute and we are now energized. Let's go figure this out. Like, I that's like the way that I can explain it. Now, the advice plus the spiritual work, I've mentioned this before, is the start. It could be. Or this could be your start. Your own work and your own due diligence and effort. And the reason why I say either or, because sometimes people can start working on their own self-belief and self-worth before they get to a reading. Now, I didn't write this, but I'm going to tell you, I am a super huge fan of YouTube. I'm not kidding. I am not an affiliate, but I do the YouTube Premium. I love that stuff because there are no commercials and it's so great. But there are many reasons why I love it besides watching, cute puppy videos and whatever and all kinds of stuff. But it's also a great teaching tool. YouTube, I actually, when I am feeling down, I will literally put motivation when I'm feeling down, or when life gets you down, motivation. I'm serious, type that. When life gets you down, motivation, press enter and see what happens. It is amazing of what, like when in self-doubt, meditation, self-doubt, motivation. And YouTube has been an awesome resource. There are videos that I have saved on playlists. So when I really am unmotivated and I really think of myself as low, very, very low, I go to that playlist because I'm not even motivated to go look for it. It's that way sometimes. Now, the whole idea of the self-belief and self-worth is very important. And I really will hope that you go and listen to episode number 8 with Dr. G. Wayne. We had a great conversation. It was about faith, but it wasn't just about faith. There are some things in there that I wasn't even planning on discussing, but they came out and I'm so glad that they did. And one of them is that part of that faith is going through finding the power that you already have within to connect it to the power of the divine. Oh, if that is not a goody, delicious nugget, I don't even know what to tell you. That is amazing. What we're trying to say in that episode is that part of the faith is going to that knowing that you have a power within, which is made from the divine. Now you need to figure out how to connect it to the divine. That might be a really good episode for you to listen. When it comes to self-belief and self-worth, that jumped out at me because I've struggled with this since I was a child. And I am going through stuff as we speak. And it has made me question what I believe in myself, or if I believe myself to be worthy. And what I have found is that yes. So here's a couple of things that I have found helpful. Affirmations, super important. Orisha Wisdom has some affirmations. Go to the main site, check that out. And to do that, to say those words in your own voice out loud in the morning really does make a difference. I think that you need to retrain your mind. Your mind can run wild if you let it. And sometimes it doesn't run on great green grass. It will run on some really yucky stuff. And you are absorbing all of this. When it comes to self-belief, let me go to self-worth. And because I could talk about this for a long time. I don't even need notes for this because it's something that I really struggle with. I'm going to tell you this. Olofi makes no mistakes. I created that piece of art one time that I was feeling really low. And every time that I would get a break at my job, I would draw that. And I meant it. Olofi makes no mistakes. God makes no mistakes. You are made because Orisha said, yeah, we're going to make Dodji, and that's what we're going to make. Cool dude, and that's what we're going to do. You are made with the divine in you. You have an Ori on your head, which is also divine. And that means you are worthy already. I don't know. I just want to kind of like get through the microphone. So when you hear this, you are worthy already. Everyone has worth. It's so sad that we in our minds believe ourselves so much less than, or because of jerks who are around us who try to make us believe that. People, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your sister, brother, friend, quote unquote, and that's questionable because no good friend would do that to you, but family and people who are close to you, they will put you down and to the point that you actually believe it. They will say little comments and you're like, yeah, that's right. I'm worthless. You're right. And once you believe that, it switches your Ori like, oh, Dodji said that I'm worthless. You're right. We are worthless. Okay, let's go down a worthless path. It sounds, I try to kind of put it in a funny way, but it is the way that it works. Your Ori will always support you in everything that you will say or do. So if you believe that, your Ori will continue to lead you to the path of lack of self-belief and lack of self-worth. It sucks, right? So it's almost like a double negative. You have to start tricking yourself until you kind of align your Ori. So I have an upcoming podcast episode, which I still haven't finished planning it, but it has to do with this. So I'm going to give you this right now because I think it's applicable. If you want to go in a direction, you have to treat it as though you are leading a horse. The horse is, your Ori, and you're going to lead it into this direction. You are you, but you're holding the reins. And if you allow this thinking to get into you and to get on you, it will happen and you will go down that ugly, stinky, smelly rabbit hole of lack of belief and dealing with worthless people who really are not worthless, but they really think that they are. And therefore they behave in such way and their actions are worthless and everything is worthless, but they're not. So you have to retrain your mind. All right. Let's see. Okay. I wrote this down because I wrote a few notes down and I said, I got to make sure that I get all of this information out. But like I said, it may take several times for you to really get it. And I don't blame you. I am 46 and I'm still struggling with this. So if you're younger, you got one big up on me, which is time. So let's see. All right. So I put an example. Let's say that you went to a reading and you're like, okay, they told you that you needed to do this, you needed to do that. And of course you're going to do it. And you're like, well, I'm going to do positive affirmations in the morning because I think they're awesome. And I think I need to do that. And you do them every morning and you do them every morning, right? Then someone sends you pictures of puppies and you're like, oh, that's so nice. And then you see, let's say somebody walking around and they're abusing a puppy. And of course, now you're not so happy. Then you find a puppy later on. And then you decide to help puppies. Next thing you know, you're like, I really want to study about that. And then I really want to help all the puppies. Oh, maybe I want to teach other people to not abuse puppies. Next thing you know, believe it or not, you found your purpose. You have to be open. You must open your mind. If not, prime your mind to be open and then to listen. Because the universe, I'm sure, even now, while you're still asking, has given you plenty of signals, but you haven't heard them quite yet. You have to become, then stay open to the messages and the advice that the universe will give you. You have to investigate and meditate. What I mean by that is, this will open up a whole can of worms, but in a good way, I'm hoping. And it could be bad, but it's gotten me into so much trouble in a good way, but still trouble. Why you investigate? Because sometimes you think everything that comes your way is a sign and you run after it. But then you run after that. And then you see another one and you run after that. And then you see something else and you run after that. So this is why I put investigate and then meditate. Because you might say, this puppy, that really bothered me. I really did not like to see that puppy being mishandled by their owner. That really, it just fueled me. It made me angry, something fierce. I wanted to punch that dude in the face, but I think more I want to educate. And then you can start sitting down to meditate. Is this an area that I really should go into? Or maybe should I just donate? Maybe donate some time or volunteer instead of fully becoming involved, and should that be my thing? So investigate first and meditate. When I say investigate, that means that you're starting to find, information and going online, reading a book about it and listening to somebody who, whatever it is on the topic. The topic is too broad, so I can't give you examples, but to investigate. Then the next part is verify with divination. So let's go back to the puppy example. So now you're like, well, I think the puppies is going to be my life and I want to save them and I want people to treat them well. And then you're meditating, well, what would I need to know? In what capacity? Should I become a vet? Should I become, whatever it is? I don't know, an advocate for, animal conservation, whatever it is. And you investigate that. Then you go into verify with divination. I'm really interested in this. I saw this. I am thinking about either going to this college program or this college program. And if not, I would really like to start working in this area. What does Ifa say? And then go for it. Because sometimes Ifa, if it's wrong, it'll tell you no. Sometimes, here's another bit. Opening one door leads you to a better door. So going back to the same puppy example. So now you don't know which direction to go to, but you investigated being a vet, and that was the answer was no. Well, being an advocate, the answer was no. Then you're like, well, how about volunteering? Yes, volunteering. Okay, so we're going to volunteer. So you go to your local ASPCA, right, or SPCA, and you're going to volunteer. And you love the puppies, but you love the cats, and the cats are resonating with you. And then you meet someone who, opens up a better door with animals or whatever it is. You're known for it, and it opens up another door. We all need to understand that it's not so finite as, I'm going to send this email or I'm going to go to this divination and they're going to tell me exactly what I'm going to do. It's not. It doesn't quite work that way. I will mention, though, a good place to go to, and this I say tread with care, but a good place to go to once you have gotten several readings is to receive your hand of Ifa. Why I'm saying tread with care, because that means that that is a big commitment from you to that individual. So I wouldn't say that, do that right at the beginning. I don't care how many times it comes out, because you really should be careful on who you are getting ceremonies, initiations, and shrines from, because it could bite you in the butt later. Trust me, it could bite you in the butt later. So, but when you do receive the hand of Ifa, really listen to it. And I hope that many people can give you insight on your Odu that came out, and it's always good to investigate further on that Odu that you have, because it might give you insight on what line of work you should go to, or what you should be doing, or what gifts you should investigate, and go search for it. If you're lost, I think it is always best to get a compass or get directions, right? You know, I'm usually like, hey, Google, directions to blah, 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 blah. You can't do that, right? Directions to my destiny. It doesn't quite work that way. But if you are a person who now has the hand of Ifa, that comes with an Ita, and that Ita could be gold to you. I am still finding things out about my letter. I've been told that my Odu is so hard and it's such a rough letter. But the things that I have found out, I love my letter. It is a hard Odu to live, but I'm living it right now, just like you're living yours. And you're still, you're still here. So I'm just putting that out there for the hand of Ifa when the time is right for you. Now, this is your road. Your life is your road. But if you ask, even if your road is hard, you will find what you're looking for, which you're doing. I want you to go further into it. How to raise my self-belief. Look around. There's plenty of books out there. How do I raise my self-worth? Oh my God, by the way, I'm really in love with sleep hypnosis. I almost forgot. But sleep hypnosis. So if there's something that you're struggling with, I love that stuff. And you hear it at night. And I don't know how it works because I pass out. But I'm hoping it does something, because I really do believe that it will go into your unconscious, and your unconscious never sleeps. And you can start doing. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is, if you know you're trying to rebuild your self-belief and self-worth, you have to start working for it. Now, I'm going to scratch the surface when it comes to your true purpose. Now, again, this is a very vulnerable topic for me. I've always been told that I go against the grain. I am very bossy. I am not demure. I should be sweeter, and I am a B, and it ends with a C, H. Okay. I've always been told that, to the point that I believed it. I hope you're hearing me. I believed it. And we're talking recently. I believed it. And I went to a class. This class was very long. It was several weeks. And it was related to my job, actually. And we had different workshops and different weeks for it. It was about purpose. And of course, this is meant to happen with work, because the way that your purpose is actually is a direct outcome from your flaws. And that's why I think I'm going to create an artwork that says, my flaws are my superpower, because they are. Your flaws sometimes are your beacon of light towards what you should be doing and what your purpose is in life. And I'm going to share with you what my purpose is. It took weeks, if not months. Yeah, this took a long time. And It's always good to work with others who are in the same journey because they will be more open. So remember what I told you. I've been told that my biggest flaw is that I go against the grain, right? So look what we crafted. And I really do believe that to this day, it may change because I know goals and life statements and all that stuff, it changes. But right now it stands true. My purpose is to inspire courage through boldness and persistent actions so that I can empower others with a limitless mindset. And how that came about? Because sometimes I break rules. And it's not like your common rules. There are some rules I won't break, but I go against the grain. Sometimes things need to be questioned because there is a shot for it to evolve. And sometimes standing in that truth is a very lonely place. However, to have that courage to do that and to just keep getting up when they keep knocking you down, you think that you're just surviving. Other people are watching and they're like, I could do that. And that's what I want. I want other people to say, I could do that. Or maybe I could do better than that. Hey, do it. Or I can do more than that. Absolutely. Because I want you to have a limitless mindset. But this is what I have found. So you need to do your due diligence to start finding out. There are great authors out there. There are podcasts that help with this. There are free YouTube. There is the internet. If you have access to the internet, you can start. What do I do in the morning? Morning routines to, better my self-esteem. Watch and see what happens. Imagine that. Then you are adding it to spiritual readings and the spiritual work. It's like Dr. G. Wayne said. You are finding the power that you have within, the innate divine power that you have within you. And what you're doing is basically you're finding that plug and you're plugging in to Orisha's power, to spirit power. And that is unfreaking stoppable. And I'm very excited when I see this. One, because I know you're looking. That means you are open. I hope you stay that way. When you find your readings, do the ebos, and that the spiritual work, and work every day. You know what? I'm always going through planners because I'm always running around like a chicken without a head. But you know what? If I could do better today than what I did, yesterday, we're golden. The journey is going to be the important part. The moving towards trying to figure out the purpose of what you do is amazing. Just that part. And I will tell you, it sucks sometimes when you don't think that you're worthy at all. And I get it. And that's why this spoke to me, because I get it. But I want you to know that introspection and the work, just hooking that up with the power of the divine and with your readings and ebos, you're golden. So I'm going to try to figure this out. But I wrote this down and I literally jotted it right before we started to record. Intention plus action times readings and ebo. Because you have to start first. Sometimes it's not the reading first. Sometimes you have to start first, plus the action that you make. So you have to be open. What is it that calls to you? So if the issue is your purpose, is it your purpose in this universe? Is it career-wise? Is it just all throughout? I would say look around, do your due diligence, look at your flaws. That became I am such an advocate now of, like, if somebody is a little crazy and they're jumping around and they don't sit still, that person could be a good inventor someday for, I don't know. Somebody had to create fidget spinners and it's probably one crazy dude. Who knows? Somebody did it. Somebody created something because of some reason and that was their purpose. How did they find it? They started working towards it. And sometimes you don't end up with your purpose, But it's you open many little doors until you finally open that one and you know, this is it. This is exactly where I need to be. And that's going to take a lifetime. For some people, they find out their purpose a lot sooner. Congratulations. If, your purpose is to be the best dad or the best mom ever, mazel tov, do it. I know. I just like saying mazel tov because somebody told it to me yesterday and now I'm like, oh, the word is stuck in my head. So congratulations. You're going to be a nurturer. Excellent. Your purpose is, to be a inventor. Congratulations. I like to invent little things, but I've broken, more than what I fixed. That's okay. Better than me. But you have to start somewhere and you can't expect the answer to land on your lap. It's really intention plus action times reading and ebos. It's really that. Intention plus action. I'm going to have to put that. Intention plus action times reading and ebos. I would like to thank Dodji for sending in your question. I hope that this kind of started cranking your brain so you can start focusing. Go to our Orisha affirmations and our morning affirmations. Start there if you don't have anything. There are books. If you have issues with this, there's an author for that. There are many, many authors. And if you are in the Orisha Wisdom community, feel free to share or to ask the question and they will be willing to tell you, do you know any good books about this? A lot of the people there are super helpful. And that is our Facebook community, the Orisha Wisdom community. I almost got tongue-tied there, but I am just grateful for this question because it really stood out and I'm hoping that this was helpful. You have reached the end of this episode. For show notes, go to orishawisdom.com/81. 81. Could you believe this? This is the 81st episode. I'm mind blown. Anyway, this episode was brought to you by your Orisha Traditions Journey Type Quiz. Take the quiz. Find out what is your journey type. And let me know because I've gotten comments yeah, I am a Tyro seeker. And it's so cool because now you know why you've been doing stuff and how you can get better because you know where you're at and you know how to proceed. Go to orishawisdom.com/Omileti, and that's OMILETI, and take the quiz. FYI, we are still seeking for founding members of your virtual ELE. I am looking for 27 of them. I just figured that 27 is a great number because it is. As a founding member, you will have a say in how this community is built. And of course, you could go to orishawisdom.com/Omileti, click on the tile that says your virtual ELE and see if it resonates with you. Continue. I've seen an increase in your orders for Orisha merch. So we're talking mugs, we're talking artwork, we're talking ademu dishes. We're talking offering dishes. Those are really cute, but they take a long time because they're each made individually, but they're so awesome. And get yourself on a mug. I have a bunch of mugs and I will make it for you. One of my classic favorites is hold on, let me call my babalao. I love that one. It's so cool. Go to orishawisdom.com/Omileti. Everything is there. I hope that you have found value in this episode. And if you have, check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Iya Omileti. Remember, I'm not an Iya, but it's too late to change that link. So patreon.com/Iya Omileti, and you will have access to the podcasts before they are published and a lot of other perks. And truthfully, if you can and you would like to support, I would be so, so grateful because it really does help to offset the costs of the podcast and the page and everything else. If you like this episode as well, share it. Share it with somebody who could use it. You know, somebody who's struggling. You know, somebody that you would like to share this journey with you. Share it. Share it on your social media. Share it with them. Email it, message it, whatever it is, share it. And if you can, go to iTunes, and if you have a few minutes, leave us a review. That actually is amazing, and I do read each and every one, and they mean so much, like the world to me. If you're on YouTube, you know the drill. Like the episode, subscribe, and click on that little bell icon so that you will be the first to know when there is a new video uploaded, because these podcasts get turned into videos. Yay, I love technology, maferefungogung. Stay tuned for the next couple of episodes. We are going to tackle not only Ask a Priest questions, but we are going to be starting a new series. I've only asked one priest. Oh, I'm so happy that he said yes. We're going to tackle also an issue with priests and how we handle, as priests, posers. Yeah. So we are working on that. That's going to be coming up soon as well. And I am hoping, and I'm almost certain that we're going to have a priestess on who is going to share her story. Her story is years in the making, and it's going to pull on heartstrings. I commend her for her courage, but I want you to learn and also to share as a community on somebody's journey, and many other topics that are coming, but those are the upcoming ones. I'm so excited. Until next time, may the elevated ancestors and all Orisha bless you immensely. Odabo. Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Orisha and Ifa is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.